Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. When we have decided to work on the mind as the beginning of the spiritual life, then the question comes, what do we mean by working on the mind? See, like working on the computer, we know. There was one WhatsApp you must have seen, or may not have seen. Here you people are not fully in life. In India we get hundreds and thousands of WhatsApp. There was one WhatsApp about the iPad for grandfather. So the grandfather was helping the daughter-in-law in the kitchen. Somebody gave grandpa iPad for you. Oh, very good. He took it, went in the kitchen, took the onion and cut on that. Put it in the sabji. Then he washed it under the tap, clean, and put it in the dishwasher. Working on the laptop. These things we know. But when it comes to working on the mind means what? See? Very important. So, first of all, let us know how the mind works. Then we will be able to work on the mind. Isn't it? When you know how the computer works, when you know how the software works, when you know how the car works, then you are qualified to work on the car, on the computer, is it not? If you don't know the working of that machine, you can't work on it. Is it clear? So we must know how the mind works. For that we have to learn what the mind is. One elderly person, very sincere, simpleton, he asked me this question. Swamiji, you all people, talk about mind, but where is the mind? I don't know. Please tell me. I said, okay. Should I tell you about my mind or your mind? He said, of course, my mind. Okay. Then I said, I will ask you questions. Reply them in your mind. And when I will tell, then you tell me the reply. So I told him, 1 plus 1, keep it in your mind. I said, okay. 2 plus 2, keep it in your mind. I said, okay. 4 plus 4, keep it in your mind. Okay. Then I told, 8 minus 8, now tell, how much it is? He said, 6. I said, you have gone beyond mind. You have transcended the mind. Now, how can you talk to such a person? See? So, what is the mind? Normally, you must have heard this popular way of expression. Mind is a flow of thoughts. It is here I differ. Mind is not a flow of thoughts. Can we say a river is a flow of waters? Yes or no? Yes or no? No. Then what is the river? If simply flow of water is river, then what is coming out of the tap? River is coming out. It's flow. So when we say river, 3 factors are involved. One is the waters, second is the movement of the water, and third is the river bed. These three things together constitute a river, is it not? If there is water, if there is a bed, but if there is no movement, will you call it as a water, as a river? No, it's a lake. And this is clear. In the same manner, mind is not only a flow of thoughts. Then what is mind? Mind is an interaction between two types of thoughts. One aspect of the thought is subjectivity. Other aspect of the thought is objectivity. Like, I know you all. So you all are objects of my knowledge. You are many, but I, who is knowing many, is one. There is not separate I for each one. The one I who is knowing her is different from the I knowing her. No, one I, one common I. Now be very attentive, very subtle thought. If you catch it, it will be a great thing. Then further, that to which we have given importance, that only enters our mind. See, very simple rule. We have given importance to India, so everything about India enters our mind. Like the other day I got one WhatsApp. Samsung has launched Make in India app for all the new mobile phones. You don't have to do any mechanically, simply say, like I told him to record a video like that. So if you want to go in aeroplane mode, say Modi, Modi, it goes in aeroplane mode. If you want to keep the mobile phone silent, say Manmohan Singh, it goes in silence. If you want to say, put the mode in vibration, say Kejri, Kejri, goes vibration mode. And if you want to switch off, say Rahul Gandhi. See? Now this joke will be appreciated only who have India as important thing in their mind. Now our kids who do not have much importance about India, they will never laugh on this joke. Because they don't know, they have no value for that. So what is the principle we have to learn? Whatever we have given importance, that alone enters our mind, is it not? First principle. Now who gives importance? We give importance. And anything that you give importance to become the source of misery for you. Give importance to discipline, you will be most miserable. Give importance to perfection, you will be perfectly miserable because you are a perfectionist. A perfectionist wants everybody around him or her to be perfect. It can never happen. Then that perfectionist is always miserable because he is perfect. Give importance to education, that will trouble you. Anything you give importance. Therefore, the world enters our mind because we have given value to something or somebody in our life. Children are children, but to some child we give importance. My child. So we have given importance to my child, then all the problems will start breeding in your mind. So this first principle we have to understand, the working of the mind. We have given importance to things and beings in this world, they become a source of nuisance. Now second step. If we have given importance to something or somebody, Nobody can devalue it for us. We have to devalue. Otherwise, you tell me, how can a person start smoking? Nobody is born with a cigarette in the mouth and ladder in the hand. The moment born, no. How it starts? We start looking at the billboards, and there somebody smoking and driving the motorcycle. In that seat, you keep yourself, remove that man and start looking at it. Yes, I'll be like that. There will be somebody sitting behind me and bring the lighter from in the front, and then it will be lit. Once that has gone in your head, then you start Agnihotra, Dhumrapanam, Shatagodanam. When you give a cigarette to somebody to smoke, it is equivalent to donation of 100 cows. Dhumrapanam, Shatagodanam, ek kash, Ganga snanam. Because we have given importance. And thereafter, we start justifying that whatever I do is right. This happens particularly with anger. People are justifying their anger, and therefore they don't get rid of the anger. Swamiji, unless you become angry, people don't work. So you have no value for the peace of your mind. See, we have value for the external world, not your peace of mind. Now apply the same principle. If you have given topmost value for the peace of your mind, you will keep the whole world outside. Hell with the whole world. My peace of mind is more important. Because if our mind is in peace, then only we can help others. If we are totally shattered, we can't help others. Therefore, the working of the mind is whatever we have given importance to, that enters the mind and that creates disturbance. Now, is it only one object enters our mind? Millions of them. So, the I, who has allowed the worldly things and beings to enter the mind, this I thought and the not I thoughts. Not I thoughts are many, I thought is one. Be attentive. As our age grows, the I thought becomes fat, and the not I thoughts have become many. Because such a long past, because of the long past, there are many not I thoughts in the form of memories. And therefore, the I thought becomes very strong and very firm. That strong, firm I thought with reference to the burden of the total past is called as ego. Now this ego starts manifesting in different ways. Number one, seeking constant attention. You must have seen your kids, when the children are small, they want constant attention. When I saw Lali's daughter, I remember one thing. When I went to her house, we are, sitting together, and she was playing with the, iPad, and one word she started repeating 100 times. www.com. Remember? And she was saying it for no reason. So father has to keep shut. But why she was repeating? So that people should give attention to me. Whenever we are seeking attention, ego is born. Understand the working of the mind. And therefore, elderly people are constantly seeking attention. Strong ego. And for that, they will be bringing out all those unhealthy conditions which don't exist. If you straight away walk away, nobody will bother about you. But while walking, suddenly you say, "Oh God, oh." You mean, what happened? What happened? If you say this earlier, why I have to say that? We are all seeking attentions. If you have dogs in your houses, you must have seen. When you enter the house, you don't give importance to the dog, don't give attention to the dog. He'll make a noise. And then you go and sit down and start talking to that dog, because you can't talk to human beings. You talk to the honey, darling, I was missing you. And the dog will come and do whitewash to your face. The dog gets the organic salt. Dirty fellow. And after he has done his job, then he doesn't need you. Got attention, I got it. Got recognition of my presence. This is how the mind works. And when this ego, the I thought in the mind, becomes stronger and stronger, it is expressed as more and more miserable. Stronger the I thought, easily you get hurt. Weaker the I thought, you don't get that much hurt. Zero ego, no hurting. Elderly people get hurt very quickly. This is a very simple understanding of this thing called as mind. So, next step. Now this I thought is entertaining so many themes, so many thoughts, which are not I thoughts. More the entertainment of not I thought, stronger is the I thought. I have this, I have that, I have done this, I have done that thing, I have done, I. Keep on talking. Because I has so many things. And when this I has minimum things, as a small child, he has nothing to talk. Therefore, children are not that miserable as elderly people are. This principle I discovered in one of the management conferences. It was unusual management conference we conducted, and there, after our necktie sessions were over, then evening we used to have the whole family together. Daytime we used to send them for sightseeing, and evening all the members of the family together. So the neckties and his wife and children and in-laws and outlaws, big gathering. I said, now we'll play today something. So all were interested to play. I said, I'll call somebody, and that buddy has to tell something about him for 5 minutes. So you don't have to prepare anything. Yes. So everybody was trying to hide the face here and there. Other he may have called. So one child I called, about 5-6 years. I said, hey, you come. He said, for what? I said, you have to talk about yourself. He came. I had nothing to talk. I said, no, you have to talk something about you. 5 minutes you have to stand here. It was a big problem for him what to talk. After a great struggle, he said one sentence, I like chocolates. What a great achievement he has made it. Again blank. Hey, come on, very good, you are giving a good lecture. Talk something more. I have nothing to talk. I said, something you have to talk, or stand here for 3 minutes. Then he got so annoyed. He said, if you don't allow me to go, I will do susu here. I said, go. His lecture was over. Then the second experiment, I called one something like 80 not out. That old man came, somebody's father-in-law, mother-in-law, like that. He came and stood. I said, "Uncle, you have to talk about yourself for 5 minutes." It was difficult to keep him shut. Started, so many things he has to talk. I said, "Uncle, 5 minutes are over." "No, but I have just started." I said, "Doesn't matter. You go." He became angry. "You invited me. I didn't ask you to come and talk. Now when I am talking, why do you ask me to keep quiet?" I said, "My experiment is successful. Please go and sit. I'll explain you." To the child, because there was a minimum past, nothing to talk, therefore no ego, therefore no hurting. The elderly man, a long past, strong ego, is he vulnerable to hurt? Understand this principle about mind. Whenever we get hurt in our life, understand the hit of the hurt is falling on this ego. Therefore, I told you, the real spiritual practice is keep always happy. When you remain happy, your ego is slowly diluted and disappearing. And a happy person always remains in the present. See, because happiness happens only in the present. You cannot become happy yesterday. You cannot become happy tomorrow. You can be happy now. See, when this working of the mind, when you understand properly, then you will never justify why you are miserable. But suppose you are miserable, what should we do? Pretend you are happy. See, in Cary, I gave you an example. If I tell you the same joke 3 times, will you laugh? No. But for the same misery, we become always miserable. What logic? When the same joke cannot make you again happy, why the same misery makes you again miserable? Yes, misery has come, you have become miserable, it's over now. But again we remember those days, and again become miserable. This is how, when we understand the working of the mind, then alone we will be able to work on the mind. See, friends. Therefore, the real seeker is born when he starts working on the mind. Now first, the popular day-to-day life working on the mind we'll learn, and then we'll go the working on the mind at a very deep level. First, the practical level. When there are few people together, observe, you will come to know that everybody who is standing there on that, they want to get involved in the discussion. See? These 2 daughters of Aparna, I have learned this thing from them. You keep on talking, they are absolutely silent. They don't participate. And then you'll come to know, it is not necessary. But the mind wants recognition, wants to participate. So one person says, last time, we went for a retreat in that place. It was raining so heavily. So other person says, no, we went once, for a retreat, and there was no water in that place. So on the basis of water, there is a competition. You had more water, we had no water. Is it necessary? See, friends, learn this, that whenever there are groups, the discussions keep on multiplying. This you can see in the marriages. Marriages, they keep on talking, groups come together, they keep talking. How much money these people must have spent in marriage unnecessarily. And I don't know how long this marriage will last. And then the other person says, yes, I tell you, that marriage, I went, they have spent millions of rupees, but it broke within 1 month. Pata nahi, what unnecessary discussion going on and on and on and on. See? So observe this, that before we talk on any issue, ask a question to yourself, is it necessary to talk? See? I guarantee you, in 99% cases, you will get an answer, no need to talk. But then what we will do? We have to talk. When we practice this, you will come to know further. When we talk to others, be attentive. When we talk to others, we talk only about our past. See, I went there, I also went there. See, the other day we went for a circus, and that fellow jumped from above, and surprisingly, that net, it broke. And he died. The story is over. At the most you mourn. 1 minute silence. But before he finishes his tongue, we cut his tongue. Idu kuch bhi nahi. When I saw one circus, the whole tambu came down. And all the people below died. Is it necessary? Are you competing with the death? See, friends, this is how the mind works. Be aware of this. So before we talk, first of all, let us find out, is it necessary to talk? Then you don't have to observe mauna. Then very necessary, then talk. But many times you must have seen these people, they practice mauna, silence as the spiritual practice. And then they'll keep their mouth shut and keep a paper pencil with them. I want a cup of tea. So that poor person gives a cup of tea. चीनी तो डाला ही नहीं. Why don't you see with your mouth? That is not mauna. Mauna is this. When necessary, do talk. When not necessary, don't talk. And then you'll come to know we talk unnecessarily about our past. Is no need. But we have to tell about our past. I'll tell you about one of my experience about this. This happened in Australia, Melbourne. There was one Swamiji, he is no more now, very nice person. And he was in charge of one particular very great organization's ashram, not for a day or two, but for 40 years. So he was about 78, 80 that time when I met him. And then he came to stay with somebody, and they told him, Swamiji, we have got Swamiji, we wish to invite you. I said, yes, I'll come to take his darshan. So I went there. And did namaskar to him and sat on the floor. He said, where from you are, what is your ashram and all that. I said, Maharaji, I don't have anything, I am just moving around, I have nothing more. Then he started about himself. I was there, I did my graduation in physics with a golden, gold medal. Then I wanted to join that particular ashram. They didn't allow me, but I did not give up. Then I went to other place. There I studied. And finally I made them join me at their ashram. How can they? Then I did this thing, blah, 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 going on. Earlier my name was so and so. My parents wanted me to get married. I got married, but I didn't stay. And then my parents became very miserable, and I don't know. All these things, is it necessary? See, friends, be attentive. If you are interested in your past, you will be interested in the past of others. If you are not interested in your past, you will not be interested in the past of others. Mind will remain at peace. Why we dig the past of others? Because we are interested in our past. So once we recognize this trick of the mind doesn't want to remain in the present. The moment the mind comes in the utter present, the mind dissolves. This is the trick of the mind. Who wants to die? So simplest way is get lost in the past. But if we really inquire, we come to know past belongs to the body and not to the mind. Therefore, many elderly people make this pathetic joke. They say, one elderly man asked me this question. This happened in Calcutta. He was immediate furniture brand, thin, useless type. With a short half pant he has put on, and with a golf cap on his head, and with a t-shirt. If a bicycle will go near him, he will fly away. That kind of personality. In the morning I was sitting near that lake in Lake Town. He just came and stood in front of me. He asked me this question, can you guess what is my age? In the morning, 6 o'clock, to an unknown person, you go and ask this question. What must be the age? I said 3 years. Because a mature person will never ask such a question. He said, no, tell really. Then I said, you are 81 years young. And when I said like this thing, he was so happy. You are the first person who has completely and correctly understood that I am not old, I am young. Now see the condition. Body is old. Mind never becomes old. The reason is, mind is the father of the time. Time is born out of mind. So how the mind will ever influence the time? Like the sugar is born out of the sugar cane. How can the sugar cane make the sugar cane diabetic? It cannot. Therefore, the mind survives only on the time. So it will go all the time in the past. That is the diet for the mind to survive. And therefore, the mind will try to find out one or the other excuse and go in the past. And when we go in the past, we want somebody to listen to our stories. Just watch this thing. All elderly people, if you want to make them happy, go and ask them about their past and don't listen. It is enough for them. Whether somebody listens or not, they keep on talking. Observe this. So, before we talk to someone on any topic, ask this question, is it necessary to talk? No. Now the second, working on the mind. Work on the mind when you are by yourself. We talk maximum to our own self. Keep on talking. I don't do this. Right from morning it begins. and be attentive. We talk to ourselves about the future. Observe. These things you don't get in books. You have to learn from your experiences. So try these two things consciously. Stop talking to yourself. This is the biggest problem for everybody, particularly for teenagers. They are pathetically suffering because of this disease. They can't stop talking to themselves. And as a result, they want to go for drinks and drugs. Because that numbs the mind. And then they feel relieved of it. But on the contrary, if we become aware that whenever we talk to ourselves, we talk about the future. I don't do what? So what is talking to ourselves? Creating imaginary problem and trying to find out the solution. And those problems never come in our life, but our time is gone. Try these two things sincerely. Before we talk to others, ask a question. And second thing, stop talking to yourself. And begin it, not very long way. Begin 30 seconds at a time. Do it 3, 4, 5 times a day. And where to begin? Begin, this is called as commode yoga. Yoga in daily life. Start your yoga on commode yoga. The moment you land on the commode, remember this. Don't talk to yourself. So if you sit for a longer time, long yoga. Give it a try, friends. This old habit of talking to oneself non-stop will die away. How much we talk? Incessantly, continuous. See? So, begin it for 10 seconds. Like a small child learns walking. The child doesn't start running directly. He discovers his own techniques. Slowly walks. First a reptile, then he tries to hold something, and then he learns. And in this process of learning, he falls, but he never gives up. In the same manner, in this process, not talking to yourself, don't give up. Start 10 seconds at a time. Then make it 20 seconds, 30 seconds. And with this practice, you will be able to understand what is the meaning of working on the mind. So now, for next 1 hour, 1 hour, next, 2 minutes, do not talk to yourself. Now listen, when you really do not talk to yourself, then you don't feel like talking to anybody. But if you suppress yourself, there is an urge to talk, but I don't know to talk. That leads to mental abnormalities. If you are not able to keep, never mind, talk it out. Don't suffocate your mind. Many abnormalities are born out of this. Externally, they are showing something different. Inside, volcanoes are erupting. No. It is better to talk out and relax rather than suffocate. And then the moment comes, it bursts. No, don't do that. This remaining silent with oneself is the highest spiritual practice. Then you will come to know that when we have decided not to talk, what happens is, all that we have given value, that is kept apart, kept away. Because now our attention is on keeping the mind quiet. See? When we thus practice it again and again, yet we will come across many thoughts eruptions. Now let us understand what is the meaning of talking to ourselves. Talking to others we know. We keep on telling our experiences of the past. What is talking to ourselves? Talking to ourselves is, there is a series of subsequent thoughts which are born out of the earlier thought. See? Such as, now after the lecture is over, I have to go and eat the food, and then the food will be eaten. Then after that, what we have to do? I think we have to wash the dishes. One thought is breeding the next thought, the third thought, the fourth thought. As a result, the mind gathers momentum. And if there are no thoughts, mind will go to sleep. So neither we have to allow the mind to gather the momentum and run by its own momentum, nor we want the mind to sleep. Then mind should remain alert, in the utter present. Then only we can live daily life, yoga. Otherwise it is going to sleep. See, friends. Then how do we solve this riddle? It is here the technique of japa is told in our scriptures. See? When you are chanting the Lord's name, see what happens. Working on the mind, don't forget. When we chant Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. One thought of Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram is complete in itself. There is nothing that you have to add. But if the thought is, I have to heat the food, thought is incomplete. Then I have to go from here, I hope there is a gas. Next thought comes. Third, but the utensils are too big. I have to prepare only 1 milligram of tea, but the pots are like the taking bathtub. One after another, thoughts are born. This process of thought breeding is only because earlier thought is incomplete. But when the thought is complete in itself, so that is why the chanting of the Lord's name is done. So when one thought is complete, there is nothing to add. Then before any other thought process begins, fire another shot. Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. In this manner, we slowly help ourselves. The worst habit of talking to oneself is arrested. But what happens? Even the Lord's name, we start in the same manner as if it is a thinking process. Again you gather their momentum. Don't allow the momentum to be gathered. We have to dissolve the process of thinking. In this manner, when we practice it 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day, very short period, 1 minute, half a minute, 2 minutes, whenever as you grow in your ability to control your thinking process, you will slowly get the knack of it. And those people who are not able to achieve this, they can't go to sleep. What is the sleep? Sleep is suspension of the thinking process. But they can't suspend it. One after another worries going on. And all the worries or thinking process is only about the future. So, the worst condition of every human being is his inability to stop talking to himself. See, in this manner, when we know the working of the mind has these two aspects, objective thoughts and a subjective thought. Now please understand, these are not two thoughts. One thought has got two aspects. Like the mirror has got two aspects. One is the side where we look into our face, other is the back side of the mirror. Be attentive. When the mirror is facing the world, everything will be reflected in the mirror. But when the mirror is turned the other way around, nothing can reflect in the mirror. Exactly the same way. One thought has two aspects. One aspect is the I aspect. The other aspect is the not I aspect. When this I aspect of the thought is facing the not I aspect of the thoughts, then mind becomes virulent, strong, agitated, active, participates in the world. But when the I thought turns his face away from the not I thoughts, there is absolute silence. This is what happens in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But we don't have to do that. We have to live day-to-day life. So what is to be done? See, there is only one way out. Let there be perceptions of this world. But don't react to the perceptions by the habit of projections. The real problem of our mind begins because of this uncontrolled habit of projections. Mind is constantly projecting about everything, about everybody. This habit of projection must be arrested. It can be done only through wisdom. There is no other way. To understand this, take an example. When we are standing in front of the mirror, our experience and understanding of the experience is different. But when a bird is standing in front of the mirror, the experience and the understanding of the bird is different. Bird takes whatever is reflected in the mirror is real, therefore starts fighting with the reflection of its own. But when we stand, we also see the reflection. But our understanding is we are looking at the reflection, but we are seeing ourselves. With this understanding, stand before the mirror, no problem. In the same manner, with this understanding, live in this world 24/7 wonderfully well, but not like a bird, but like a man standing in front of the mirror. And what will be the understanding? Whatever I have given importance, that alone is the source of misery. So what is spiritual practice? Start the process of devaluation. See. And when devaluation begins, the best thing that happens is you write off your rights. We have too many expectations from the people around us. Children should do like that, parents should do like that, husband should do like that, wife should do that. Expectation. And therefore we frustrate. So when we are written off our rights, this one principle is keeping me moving around the world. Like you all are helping me, but what right I have on you? Nothing. So if you don't do something, I will never get disturbed. Because what right I have on you? No rights. But if your wife doesn't do as per your expectation, then you will be frustrated. Because if she will not do, then who will do? Government. See, friends. Therefore, when we become aware of the various processes which are going in the mind, then we know the working of the mind. And then we start working on the mind. The second aspect of working on the mind, one aspect I told you while dealing, before we talk to others, ask a question and stop talking to yourself. Now the second aspect of the working on the mind and working, how it can be done. See, our mind gathers habit very easily. This is a positive aspect of the mind. Just try it. Suppose in the morning you finish your things and sit down before the Lord as a rule and chant, let us say, one Gayatri Mala. Om Bhurvusvata Savitur. 1 week as a rule. No choice. Next week automatically it will start. Because for the mind to make a habit is very easy. So this part of the mind, making anything as a habit, can be encashed. See, I tell you one habit which I develop with the mind. When I walk and there is nobody with me to walk, then immediately with the steps my mind starts. Left Hari, right Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. It's a habit. And when the mind is thus busy in chanting Hari Om, then the worldly things become less important. In this way, we start working on the mind, and a day will come when now you know the secrets of the mind, that the control of the mind means what? Now we are working on the mind, now we have to control the mind. Controlled mind alone can be worked upon. The mind is not controlled, you can't work on it. Like many places, the children are not controlled by the parents. And they want to work on the children. They can't. Like in one house I went somewhere, and then the parents told their child, see, Swamiji has come, do namaskar. No, I will not do. No, 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 you please do namaskar. No, no, I will not do. I said, yeah, come on, I am holding my feet, my hand, come. When the child doesn't listen to you, how can you make him to do anything? In the same manner, our mind doesn't listen to us. What can you achieve through such a mind? Therefore, the yoga in action is every experience is gathered as a guru who is teaching us, and thus start learning from every experience. Then all the secrets of the mind will come up to you. And then you will know what is the meaning of a disturbed mind and what is the meaning of a controlled mind. We simply say, mind is disturbed, mind is very controlled. But what do you mean by disturbed mind? Because we do not know, within we want to close the thoughts, tight down, no thinking. And the gurus also tell you, chitta vritti nirodha yogaha. Don't think, don't think. It's okay to say don't think, but what to do, the thinking goes on. See? So we must know what is the meaning of a disturbed mind and what is the meaning of a controlled mind. So, a mind which is disturbed takes us away from ourselves, from the source. We are the source of all bliss. We are the source of all knowledge. We are the source of all wisdom. When you go away from the bliss, you enter in blisters. When you go away from the knowledge, you end up in ignorance. When you go away from your own being, you get totally destroyed in the anatma, in the not self. So how it can be achieved? Now this is the subjective working on the mind. So far what we have seen, while we are working in the world, how do we work on the mind? Now we come on the seat of meditation. Now there we start working on the mind. It is something like we do the work whole day, and before we sleep we write the account. And when the account book is complete, then close it and then sleep. So meditation is writing an account for the whole day's mind's activity and then closing the mind happily. That we will take in our next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.